Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Thursday morning from 6 till 8, it's Patrick Berry, owner of the Westfield News Group.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
That's a sex machine to all the chicks. You damn right. Who is the man that would risk his neck for his brother, man? Can you dig it? Who's the cat that won't cop out when there's danger all about? Right on. You see, this cat Shaft is a bad mother.
Shut your mouth.
What I'm talking about, Shaft?
Then we can do it.
He's a complicated man, but no one understands him but his woman.
John Shaft.
morning and welcome to Superintendent Spotlight with Zap and Chris, broadcasting live from beautiful Studio 120 here at Westfield Technical Academy. Sunny today, Pete. We're starting a new streak at 28 degrees.
Yeah, you're lucky. We got a week of no rain. This is awesome.
This is awesome. No rain.
I'm surprised nobody didn't pick Blind Melon no rain today or something.
Well, and you're right. If we're looking at the week ahead, we're going to be in the 30s, which is perfect for December. But it's sunny, it's beautiful, no rain.
I call it
no
tolerable.
Snow. Yes, absolutely.
I don't mind the cold when it's not raining.
And
I can even deal with snow better than rain.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And I did say leading in that it's Superintendent Spotlight with Zap and Chris, but Zap's not with us this morning. So this morning the show's actually going to be called "Keeping It True with Chris and Sue." How's that
I like that one. That was just coined about a minute and a half ago.
Yeah, excellent. So my co-host and guest this morning is Susan Dargy, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction for Westfield Public Schools. Good morning, Susan. How are we doing today?
Good morning, Mr. Rogers. Doing well. Happy to be here with you today.
Oh, I'm happy you're here as well. And we have a couple of great guests with us this morning for a really exciting show. Who's joining us this morning, Mrs. Dargy?
This morning we have Kate Perez, Supervisor of Mathematics, and Mary Keene, Supervisor of English Language Arts.
Awesome. And supervisors. So for our listening audience, our supervisors are working in our public schools in grades 7 through 12. Although very recently they just did an outstanding professional development for our administrators at every level. But their primary focus is for grades 7 to 12. So obviously our new Westfield Middle School, Westfield High School, and of course Westfield Technical Academy. So good morning, ladies. How are you today?
Good morning. Thanks for having us today.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure to have you. So what we want to really talk about and let our listeners know is what do we mean when we talk about a supervisor? Like in the workforce, supervisor can take on many roles and have many meanings. What does it mean for a K-12 school district or grades 7 to 12 at our secondary levels? What do we do in this role, or what do you do in this role?
Okay, so one of our main focuses, I think, is just on teaching and learning. So we work closely with our teachers, 7 through 12, just ensuring that the best possible teaching is happening in each and every one of our classrooms. And something that I really enjoy about this role is now we're kind of that point person for vertical alignment between grades 7 through 12. So we get to visit all three of these buildings and really make sure that the students of Westfield are all getting a similar and great experience, and our middle school students are prepared for high school, and we can kind of work with all of the teachers to make sure that happens.
And Kate, you just mentioned vertical alignment. What is? Let our listeners know what vertical alignment is in terms of curriculum in a school system.
Sure. So especially in math, for example, we want to make sure that sort of the routines and the structures and the thinking that students are learning in 7th and 8th grade and even before that are going to just sort of line up with what they're going to do when they get to the high school, so that there's just an easy transition for our students.
Excellent. Mary?
So I feel very lucky to be part of a 4-person supervisory team. So we have a content specialist in English, math, social studies, and science and technology and engineering. So that's one position, that end one. And one of the things that I can say about our supervisor team is that each supervisor is really passionate about their subject area. And we have the opportunity to spend a lot of time with teachers in a professional development setting, and we can bring that excitement and enthusiasm for the craft of teaching and also the content. And additionally, we've been fortunate to attend a lot of professional development ourselves, which enables us to bring back current practices to our staff.
Excellent. So you mentioned being 2 of our 4 curriculum supervisors for grades 7 to 12. And, of course, Mrs. Dargy is the Director of Curriculum and Instruction. So we have a team, a curriculum team, basically, that the district has, in order to help our teachers, in order to help our students. Do we want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I would say that the curriculum team is primarily made up of, at the director level, in addition to myself and my role as curriculum and instruction director, we have you, Mr. Rogers, in your role as Administrator of Student Interventions, and Denise Ruzala, Director of Assessment and Accountability. We work with the 4 supervisors and 5 if we add our AD, Dan Trudeau,
Yes.
who is Supervisor of PE, as well as being our Athletic Director. And then we have 5 coaches
Yes.
in the district who are part of our team, and those are coaches of technology, literacy, and mathematics. So we have a great team that occasionally we work all together on projects, but really everyone is out in the schools doing the things that Kate and Mary are talking about to help our students through helping our teachers.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said, we're excited about having these folks in their positions now and helping to move our secondary schools forward. And Mary has been a coach prior, all right, in our
Yes.
district, and a teacher prior in our district, and has really done a nice job in terms of climbing the ranks of Westfield schools, and has a really unique perspective in that she was an English language arts teacher in the classroom, then went to that role of coaching and helping, and now is supervising. So, Mary, talk a little bit about that and how you are adapting to your new role.
Absolutely. So I believe that when I was a classroom teacher, I spent a lot of time focusing on my own students and my own classroom practice.
Absolutely.
Then I was so lucky to have the opportunity to be a coach. And in a coaching role, I accessed a lot of other classrooms and worked with students really across the building. At the time, I was at North Middle School, and I also collaborated with my co-partner who worked at South Middle School, and so I was able to get in a lot of South Middle classrooms at the time also. And that was a really big moment for me where I realized the expertise and the great things that were happening within my own department in different classrooms, and really helped me to look at collaboration in a different way. And then to be able to foster that collaborative nature and those collaborative practices as a supervisor has been so exciting for me. And also, I do want to give a shout out to my fellow supervisors because our team has worked really well together in terms of, again, collaboration to bring cohesive instructional practices to our buildings at large.
Well, what you're talking about is incredibly important, and the days of in education of a teacher or an administrator or someone working in a silo and working
Yes.
by themselves is gone. Right, it's gone. There's too much going on. Our students have too many needs. There are so many standards, and of course, we're looking for best practice and really practice that's rigorous and relevant to our kids. And that takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of collaboration. And we talked about having a curriculum team that's working at the district level, down to collaborating in our schools, and of course collaborating in our teachers. And one of the exciting things we do in our district is we do provide time for our teachers to have opportunities to collaborate together in professional development opportunities.
Right.
So, yes.
Oh, this is a big topic to discuss, so I wasn't sure.
We'll
if
wait.
we
We'll
had
wait for that.
time
No,
for-
we will definitely put that on our second segment. So, what have you two found to be the most rewarding piece of your job so far in your few months as subject area supervisors in the district?
I think for me, coming from a different district, it's been really rewarding just to see teachers sort of open up to me, and just sort of in such a short time seeing them trying new things. Like Mary said, we really try hard in our PLCs to sort of bring new techniques and new things for teachers to try. And for me, it's been really rewarding that I'm somebody that they don't know, and that they've been able to trust me enough to go ahead and try these things in their classroom. So that's been really awesome to see.
Nice.
I have to echo Kate's response that when I am really excited about a strategy that I share with teachers, and then in a walkthrough I see that strategy implemented in the classroom, I am so excited that I tell everyone I see.
Yeah.
And the reason that I'm so excited is because I feel like this has a powerful impact on learning.
Absolutely.
I was in a classroom for a part of the year last year, and so many of the students in the 9th grade I had in my own classroom. And so that has also been very rewarding to see that transition happening for our 8th to 9th graders, and seeing how that continuum of learning is happening for those kids, and to see how strategies that we're using in our middle schools are also being used in our secondary schools, our high schools.
And it has just been so rewarding working with this group of educators. They are all relatively new administrators. They're enthusiastic and bring a passion and excitement that is contagious.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a buzz and a feel, and I know from talking to teachers and talking to the curriculum team that our supervisors are very welcomed and wanted in our 3 schools, and sometimes have to get pulled in those 3 different directions.
We're very busy.
Yes, absolutely. It's again, the sun may have gone down behind a cloud, Pete, but it's still 28 degrees here and we're broadcasting live from Westfield Technical Academy Studio 120. Time for our first break. When we come back, we'll chat about some of that professional development that we were alluding to happening across the district for our administrators and our staff. We'll be right back.
3 is a magic number. Yes, it is. It's a magic number. Somewhere in the ancient mystic trinity, you get 3 as a magic number. The past and the present and the future, faith and hope and charity, the heart and the brain and the body give you 3 as a magic number. It takes 3 legs to make a tripod or to make a table stand. It takes 3 wheels to make a vehicle called a tricycle. Every triangle has 3 corners, every triangle has 3 sides, no more, no less. You don't have to guess. When it's 3, you can see it's a magic number. A man and a woman had a little baby. Yes, they did. They had 3 in the family. That's a magic number. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30.
Multiply backwards from 3 times 10.
3 times 10 is 30. 3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 4 is 12. And 3 times 3 is 9. And 3 times 2 is 6. And 3 times 1 is 3, of course.
Now dig the pattern once more. 3,
3, 6, 9,
12,
12, 15, 18,
21,
21, 24, 27, 30.
Now multiply from 10 backwards.
3 times 10 is 30.
Going
3 times 9 is 27. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 4 is 12. And 3 times 3 is 9. And 3 times 2 is 6. And 3 times 1. What is it? 3! Yeah, that's a magic number. A man and a woman had a little baby. Yes, they did. They had 3 in the family. That's a magic number.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com. offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at xfinity.com. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Thursday morning from 6 till 8, it's Patrick Berry, owner of the Westfield News Group,
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
And we're back with Superintendent Spotlight with Zap and Chris, but today we are keeping it true with Chris and Sue. And speaking of Sue, Sue's got a few public service announcements regarding some things going on in the old Westfield Public Schools. What do we have, Mrs. Darge?
Well, we have some holiday announcements. 'Tis the season.
Indeed.
Tiger's Pride Restaurant is a wonderful venue for lunch Wednesday through Friday year-round. But in December, we have the holiday buffet on December 20th, not to be missed. You will want to make your reservations early.
Absolutely.
And to make reservations for any of the days, you can call 413-564-3123. That's 564-3123. Tiger's Pride is open from 10:45 to 12:15 Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday the 7th. They are closed Friday the 14th and Friday the 21st this month.
Yeah, so we're obviously we talk about it all the time. The kids in our culinary department here at WTA do an absolutely outstanding job, and we talk about the buffets. They're the best deal in town, man.
If you don't have your reservation for the 20th, you might not get in.
That's right, absolutely.
For the holiday buffet.
Gets packed quick.
One of the best.
Speaking of holidays, what else do we have going on?
Well, we have some holiday concerts at a number of our schools throughout the next week. We will keep you updated each week as to which schools you could attend a holiday concert. Tonight we have Westfield Middle School Band Concert at 7 p.m. And tomorrow at Fort Meadow Early Childhood Center, you could attend a Cookies with Santa event that begins at 6 p.m. Next week, December 10th, is the Southampton Road Winter Concert. That is great, featuring grades K and 1, and that's during the day at 9:45 a.m. Also on December 10th at 2 p.m., Franklin Avenue's Winter Concert featuring grades K to 2 is held. Then we have Abner Gibbs Winter Concert in the evening of December 12th, 6 p.m. start time, and Westfield Middle School Chorus Concert on December 13th at 7 p.m. And those dates and times can also be found on our district website.
And that's just about a third of the concerts that are going on during the month of December.
Right. We're going right up until December 20th with
Absolutely.
our concerts. And then lastly, for our holiday announcements, we have a vendor and craft fair happening on December 8th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Paper Mill Elementary School. And that's located at 148 Paper Mill Road. There will be vendors, crafters, and raffle prizes.
Awesome. Sounds great. So as always, there's a lot going on. And, of course, at any point in time, if people want to know what's happening in the system, they can go and check us out on our website. At schools of, Westfield, schools of and again, of course, listen to the show every week here on 98.5 89.5 Community Radio. I got confused because I'm so excited about Studio 120. Pete, I was about to say, we've got some great help with us today, don't we?
Yeah, we have a freshman exploratory. Now, these guys, I've been teasing them all morning because they said in 20 minutes they had it down pat. I wanted to do more practice with them. I said, if you guys think you have it down pat, You can go back across the hall and work on your projects. They came in this morning. They're like, so they're slowly settling into their groove now.
And they're doing it. They're doing a very nice job.
They're learning that they're learning that television is more about communication behind the scenes than in front of the camera.
Oh, no question about it. And that's actually a pretty good lead-in, a good segue, because during segment one we mentioned some professional development that's happening in our district, and some of the PD that our supervisors are leading and that are a part of. And I thought we'd give you some time to let the public know, what are we doing right now in terms of professional development?
Sure. So just something that I think is so important is, and I think people kind of tend to forget, is any other kind of career, you spend so much time learning and practicing and, teaching. You're out in the trenches every single day. So sometimes we lose sight of the fact that we have to practice. So a really awesome opportunity for Mary and I and the other supervisors is we get to provide professional development for these teachers and give them the opportunity to continuously work and learn towards their craft. So we, every month, we get to meet with each of the schools. So we have a PLC, and there we try to the first thing that we try to do is just model really good teaching techniques and things that they can try in their classroom. So we talked about that a little bit.
Not to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Can you? I've learned in my time working with Mr. Rogers and Mr. Coles on the radio that we tend in education to speak a lot in acronyms. So can you tell us what PLC stands for?
Of course. So PLC is a professional learning community. And so what that means is we, on Tuesdays, every other Tuesday, one Tuesday we meet with the 2 high schools at once, and the other Tuesday we meet with the middle school teachers, and we just work together, we collaborate, and we try as supervisors to bring in some new thing for them to learn and to try in their classroom. So again, we try to model a well-structured lesson. We've done things with positive greetings at the door, and just the idea that, if teachers are out in the hallways greeting their students when they come in, not only does that make for a better day for the student, but it makes for a better day for the teacher, and then they're able to build those kinds of relationships. So we played a really cool game with a card match with them. So again, card match is something that they can bring into their classroom and try. I know with my teachers in math, I did something with them about literacy across the content area, because of course, literacy is so important, and we need to make sure that not only in math class are we doing math, but we're also, helping kids with their reading skills, and we're helping them with their writing skills and so on. So we did a lot of that stuff. Just recently we did a PLC on formative assessments. So formative assessments are supposed to be for teachers to kind of check what students know in the class before they take the test. So not graded, just a way for teachers to say, okay, they get it, we can move on, or I need to cycle back and do something different.
Absolutely. Great.
When I was driving here this morning, I was thinking about our listening audience, and to go back to something Mrs. Dargy said, sometimes we get caught up with jargon, teaching jargon, and we throw out language that our listeners may not be familiar with. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about with professional development is that modeling of strategies. So I'm sure that our listeners may remember a time that they've been in a classroom where it was stand and deliver. The teacher was in front of the classroom speaking and lecturing. And one of the things that current research has suggested is that having a variety of activities take place in the classroom is really important for student learning and student engagement.
Absolutely.
So what I was thinking about when I was driving here is Sesame Street, because I feel like Sesame Street, which is a time-tested television show and has been on the air forever, is a great example of a way that kids can stay engaged in a TV show, which is not even an in-person experience, because they have kids interact in a variety of ways. You might have a kid stand up and do some jumping jacks and then sing a song, and then there's something with a math focus and then a literacy focus. So if we think about in our classrooms how students learn best, we are going to try to get to a variety of teaching strategies that appeal to different learners. So maybe we'll do a station model where we have kids working in a small group. Then maybe we'll have students playing a card game like Kate mentioned. That again is a different modality and a different way of learning information. When we talk about text as the English supervisor, we've really expanded to not just thinking of written texts, but to looking at other texts like artwork, for example, cartoons and newspapers, to listening to podcasts, radio shows. Here's a big shout out for the radio show. These are other ways and other types of ways that students can learn information. So fostering that idea in our classrooms that kids need to keep up and get moving and have opportunities for movement is something that all of the supervisors have worked really hard to do, and we've modeled that in the professional development that we've offered.
I love, Mary, that you mentioned Sesame Street because it is of the same era in its beginnings as two of our songs today, Schoolhouse Rock songs, and our supervisors are a bit younger than some of us on the curriculum team, but many of us grew up watching cartoons on Saturday morning when that was the only gig in town for cartoons.
Correct.
And learning so much about history, language, mathematics, science through those engaging songs. So we've known for a long time things that work. And I think our newer approaches are keeping the tried and true and maybe discarding some of the things that we have learned along the way don't work as well,
right.
And replacing them with the things that you're talking about. And that is a large part of our work in the curriculum area.
And it's a big undertaking, so it's nice that teachers have us to support them to try it, because revamping what they do in the classroom it's challenging for them, and it's a lot of work. So it's a nice opportunity for us to be able to help them do that.
Right. As a teacher, I relied on my coach, my literacy coach, and my math coach, and my principal to help support those practices and new things I was trying and risks that I was taking, for sure.
Oh, absolutely, and it all goes back to what we were talking about earlier about collaboration, and being able to, as an educator, to take a risk, and giving up a little bit of the control. I think one of the things that I learned, and it took me a few years to learn, was that my lessons weren't about me. They weren't about me, right? They were about the kids. And if we keep kids in the center, right, of everything that we do, really, if we get to that point where all of our teachers become like coaches, well, I'm talking about athletic coaches now, that are guiding and facilitating from the side while the kids are doing all the work. Listen, teaching's a tough job. It's a very, very tough job. Our staff leaves every day tired, as they should, but I like it when the kids leave more tired than when the adults do from school. The kids are the ones that should be doing the boatload of the work. And I love how we mentioned different modalities, so different ways that students learn, but also different ways that students can present what they know and are able to do. So are we seeing that in some of our classrooms now too? Are we seeing students being given choice on how they can show what they know and are able to do?
Yes, absolutely. And I think one of the most exciting developments is the use of technology in our classrooms.
Absolutely.
Yes, which has really increased. When we were preparing for this radio show, Kate and I were talking about the Google Suite and how students and teachers are using some of the functions of Google to really add an element of interest and creativity to their lessons. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And not only are they using the Google Suite all the time, I have teachers, an upcoming lesson she's going to do next week, she's using the game Angry Birds. And when you shoot the Angry Bird, I hope everybody knows the game, it makes a parabola or an arc. And so she's going to have the students looking at that parabola and graphing it and going from there and sort of, coming up with all the points that it creates. So just incorporating that technology and making it relevant for the kids.
Yeah, absolutely. And I go back, just to why we do what we do. In math and in ELA in particular, it's not, and I want our listeners to know, it's not just about being able to pass MCAS, okay? And that's the big thing and that's how sometimes, how fairly or unfairly, how schools get judged. But ultimately, we want our students to be able to have skills and that they can take with them, into the workforce, into college, into the military or whatever it might be. So it's not just about learning what a parabola is or learning how to do multiplication facts or learning what the difference between an adjective and an adverb. I still struggle with that, I think, sometimes. It's the concepts behind, and if we can get our students, if we can get our staff to relinquish a little bit of control, make it more about the kids and more about the conceptual learning, things that students can take with them to use in their day-to-day lives, the test scores are going to take care of themselves. And we need to let our teachers know that it's okay to relinquish that control a little bit. You're still gonna address your standards. You're still gonna plan your lessons. You're still gonna. But if we get our kids hooked, if we get them engaged, if we get them moving, if we give them choice and voice, all of a sudden,
learning should be fun.
What happens?
And on the choice and voice topic, we also have a system to give choice and voice to our staff members in the district in their own professional development.
Yes, absolutely.
So we are leading into the second half of the year. We have 4 early release staff development days, ERSD days, and teachers are able to attend professional development during the second half of the day. The students go to school for the morning half of the day, and then they go home. Teachers stay and receive professional development. In the spring course, which is made up of 4 sessions from January to May, teachers have a choice in what they will receive professional development in. And this afternoon, the course selection process for the spring will begin. We have about 45 courses for teachers to choose from.
Which is incredible.
And going back to what Mary said, one of the best parts of our jobs is seeing the expertise and the talent that we have across this district.
Absolutely.
So ERSD is an opportunity for teachers to submit a proposal that is then accepted, that they can teach a course to their colleagues. So we are taking advantage of the expertise that we already have right within our district.
No question.
Some of them are also professional learning communities, which is that smaller group Kate mentioned that tackles issues together and works toward solving those challenges that we face.
Yeah, no doubt, and that's you need a lot of you need to get some kudos and credit for that too, because your office puts that all together for the district, and that's a massive undertaking. So
well, thank you, and
congratulations.
it is a collaborative effort, and it's exciting. So
absolutely,
we enjoy doing it.
And speaking of exciting, like Pete said, the sun is supposed to be out for this whole week, although I don't think it's coming back out for us until this afternoon. But we are up to 30 degrees here in Westfield Technical Academy, Studio 120. We'll be right back.
As your body grows bigger,
your mind must flower.
It's great to learn,
'cause knowledge is power. It's Schoolhouse Rocky, the chip off the block of your favorite Schoolhouse Rock.
you've been waiting for Conjunction Junction.
Conjunction Junction, what's your function?
Hooking up words and phrases and clauses.
Conjunction Junction, how's that function?
I got 3 favorite cars that get most of my job done.
Conjunction Junction, what's their function?
I got and, but, and, or, they'll get you pretty far. And, that's an additive, like this and that. But, that's sort of the opposite, not this, but that. And then there's or, O-R, when you have a choice like this or that. And, but, and, or, get you pretty far.
Conjunction Junction, what's your function?
Hooking up 2 boxcars and making them run right. Milk and honey, bread and butter, peas and rice.
Hey, that's nice.
Dirty but happy, digging and scratching, losing your shoe and a button or 2. He's poor but honest, sad but true. Boo-hoo!
Conjunction Junction, what's your function?
Hooking up 2 cars to 1 when you say something like this. Choice, either now or later, or no choice. Neither now nor ever.
Hey, Gee, that's clever.
Eat this or that, grow thin or fat. Never mind, I wouldn't do that. I'm fat enough now.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
Hooking up phrases and clauses that balance like out of the frying pan and into the fire. He cut loose the sandbags, but the balloon wouldn't go any higher. Let's go up to the mountains or down to the seas. You should always say thank you or at least say please.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
Hooking up words and phrases and clauses in complex sentences like in the mornings when I'm usually wide awake, I love to take a walk through the gardens and down by the lake where I often see a duck and a drake. And I wonder as I walk by just what they'd say if they could speak. Although I know that's an absurd thought.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
Hooking up cars and making them function.
Conjunction, junction, how's that function?
I like tying up words and phrases and clauses.
Conjunction, junction, watch that function.
I'm gonna get you there if you're very careful.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
I'm going to get you there if you're very careful.
Conjunction, junction, what's your function?
I'm going to get you.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State T-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Thursday morning from 6 till 8, it's Patrick Berry, owner of the Westfield News Group.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
And we're back with Superintendent Spotlight, our weekly look into local sports and a little bit on the national level as well. But it's amazing that we are beginning our winter sports seasons already for Westfield High School and for Westfield Technical Academy. It's amazing how fast the school year is going by. But our boys and girls swimming team at Westfield High at West Springfield tomorrow at 4 p.m. Boys basketball at Holyoke, both JV and varsity. Varsity game at 7 p.m. Girls basketball at Belchertown, both varsity and JV. The girls varsity game at 7 p.m. Boys and girls indoor track taking on Agawam at Smith College in Northampton at 6:45, also on Friday. Saturday, our awesome perennial power program boys ice hockey team at West Springfield at Olympia at 5:20 p.m. And let's not forget the Tigers of Westfield Technical Academy. Girls basketball on Monday night, hosting Gateway Regional at 6 p.m. And on Tuesday, boys basketball at Pathfinder, JV at 5:30, varsity at 7 p.m. On the weekend, Pete, Patriots hosting Miami 1 p.m. on Sunday.
No, that's an away game.
Away
They're
game.
at Miami.
I'm sorry, at Miami. But the Pats are up by 3 games in the division. They can probably seal it with a win this weekend.
Yes, they can.
Celtics taking on the Knicks tonight at 8 p.m. Currently, Celts are 13-10. They're in the 6th spot in the Eastern Conference. If the playoffs were to start tomorrow, which they don't,
and they're almost a quarter of the way through the season.
That's right. Bruins right now with 32 points under their belt at 14, 9-4, taking on the Lightning, 7:30 p.m. Red Sox apparently in big-time negotiations with right-hander Nathan Eovaldi, potentially bringing him back at a 4-year deal at perhaps $17 million per.
Yep.
Nothing's imminent, but the talks are ongoing right now.
There are other teams highly interested in Mr. Eovaldi.
Including the Yankees,
Yep.
where he's been before. And Yanks did lose out on Patrick Corbin, who did sign with the Washington Nationals 6 years, $140 million. That's not bad.
No, that's no chump change right
No,
there.
Yanks held firm at 5 years and 100, which is nothing to sneeze at either, but they didn't want to go with the 6th year. So
Yep.
winter meetings for Major League Baseball coming up next week. A lot of free agent and trades, so we'll get into that next week as well. So getting back to the show, and really what's most important in terms of our guests this week, keeping it true with Chris and Sue, Mrs. Dargy, what do we got in terms of upcoming shows with Superintendent Spotlight?
Well, I'd love to talk about those, but first, I think we may have missed a sports announcement.
Oh, we did. Oh, you're right. We
Oh
did.
my goodness, yes. Listen, my dad would be so mad at me if I didn't throw a plug and I was on the radio. But hey, it might feel like winter outside, but it's always summer at the golf course. So go play. East Mountain Country Club is open. East Mountain Road in Westfield. Go play.
You know, I don't
75 on the golf course
I was
right
going to
now.
say, I don't think I've ever played golf when it was 25 or 30 degrees.
Dress warm and you'll
That's
think
why they
it's
make
75.
those crazy colored balls.
Yeah.
Right, so you can go play in the winter.
Yeah, I just haven't done it.
Although there's no snow on the course, so
There's
you
no
can still
snow
play.
and they're open. Go play.
Thank you, Kate. So for upcoming shows, on December 13th, Munger Hill Elementary School will be here. The administrative team, Sal Frieri is principal and Chris Manfredi, assistant principal. Fabulous team.
Absolutely.
Do we know who is coming, if they're bringing guests? Or
I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think we're still in the process of finalizing.
It will be good. We do know that. And then on the following week, December 20th, Westfield Intermediate School will be represented. Katie Burke is principal and her administrative team, Greg Miller and Tom Underwood. There is so much happening there, a lot going on, and that is also
absolutely.
sure
It's
to
a
be
completely
great
brand new
show.
school.
And then on December 27th, they will be having a Best in Show, and I'm pretty certain that at least one show that I have been on will probably be featured on that.
What do you know? What do you
I believe
think,
I believe that's called lobbying.
And then to kick off the new year, on January 3rd, the Westfield Drug Task Force will be back on the show.
Right. So so a lot of exciting things coming on with the show. And speaking of exciting, we're really excited to have our subject area, two of our subject area supervisors with us today, Mary Keene and Kate Perez. And, we've talked about, the work that you're doing, the work of our curriculum team, the professional development happening across the district, both in professional learning communities and early release staff development days, as well as our faculty meetings. But you don't just work with Westfield schools, right? The scope of your position sometimes is a little bit more than that, like most administrators. So tell us a little bit about the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, DESE networks that you belong to in your content areas.
Great. Each of the supervisors in our curriculum department belongs to at least one learning network. As the English supervisor, I am active in the Creating Literacy-Rich Opportunities for All Students, where the focus is text sets. And so to go back to something that Mr. Rogers was talking about earlier and how our standards are more inquiry-based. So we're trying to inspire our students to do deeper thinking as opposed to learning facts, which is like a low level kind of an
very
learning
rote and low
yes.
level.
We're trying to get them to be thinking deeply about important questions. And one of the ways that we can create rigorous learning opportunities for students in classrooms is by pairing texts. So what that means is if I'm planning to read a short story with my students, I might also bring along a poem that has a similar theme or that has a similar topic that I might be able to ask students to draw connections between two pieces. And so in my literacy network, what I am learning about is ways to do that. And I have been working with educators across Western Massachusetts who are also implementing this tech set idea within their classrooms. And I'm sure Kate will concur about this, but we had this really exciting opportunity last week to speak to the administrators within Westfield Public Schools about things that are important within our content areas. And so I modeled a tech set lesson that administrators could foster in their own buildings. And this is something that I took directly from the DESE Professional Learning Network, of which I am a part. And so the professional development that Westfield has given the supervisors access to has a direct impact on our teachers, which in turn has a direct impact on student learning.
Absolutely.
And these networks allow you to connect with colleagues from across the state,
which is
who are
massive.
doing the same work
Yes,
that you
and to
are
go
doing.
back to a point I made earlier in the show, it's that collaboration that is so important. So at a recent network meeting, which I attended with one of our middle school literacy coaches, so our Westfield Intermediate School and Elementary School Literacy Coach, Amy Martin, we sat down with Southwick, and we talked to Southwick teachers about how they're implementing tech sets in their buildings. And so having that opportunity to see how other districts are using current research and making it meaningful to their kids is so valuable for a supervisor, but also in turn can affect teaching and learning in our own district.
Mary, what's a text set?
So a text set is multiple texts that are linked in some way. So whether it's, for example, a theme. And so I might seek out multiple different types of texts that have similar themes. So I might have a painting, a poem, a short story, a passage from a novel, postage stamps, a children's book. And what I can do is by bringing in all of these different texts, I can again appeal to different learning modalities that kids might have. So maybe it's the children's book that really gives me insight into that theme. Maybe it's the poem that really gives me insight into that theme. But it provides kids the opportunity to have student choice and also to figure out, what works best for them when meeting those content standards.
Nice. Kate, can you tell us about the professional learning community, the DESE network that you are a part of?
Yes, so I am a part of the Math District Leaders Network, and similarly, like what Mary's is, we are currently focusing on proportional reasoning. And so proportional reasoning and dealing with ratios and things like that, it's a very important skill set for students to have as they continue with their math education. It's having good, solid proportional reasoning will help them through their high school mathematics and even into their future. I mean, you go to the grocery store and the little orange tag is your unit rate. Like, that's how much it costs per unit, and that's proportional reasoning. So we've been talking a lot about that, and we have, there's a proportional reasoning toolkit that they've given us. And what's really nice about these networks is, again, like Mary said, the collaboration, because we were able to see the toolkit or hear from teachers from Fall River that have been using this toolkit, and they did a presentation for us about what they did to the toolkit to sort of make it more accessible for their students. They have a high EL population there. EL is English learners, and they just the modifications that they've made, and it's things that people don't think about. The problem that they were doing for proportional reasoning, it started off with fruit snacks, and not everybody knows what a fruit snack is, so they changed it to gummy bears, and they added visuals and things like that. So not changing the mathematics, but changing it and making it more accessible. So we're able to have those types of conversations with people all across the Commonwealth. So it's a really enriching and nice experience to be able to collaborate.
Yeah, and again, it really goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Everybody's in this work together, and to be able to, and I'll tell you right now, in my role, quite a bit, the collaboration that I have with my district team is on a daily basis, and with the principals and with the supervisors is wonderful. But there are a lot of times I'm picking up the phone and I'm talking to a colleague in another district, or I'm going out for a site visit, or I'm going to a conference to work with other people, it not only does it broaden out and enhance our skills, but what we're able to bring back into our district and use good practice, not necessarily, in things that are, not just common sense, but things that are good for kids. We're talking about, I love how you said, Kate, even the switch from fruit snacks to gummy bears. I know that seems like a very small thing, but like you said, it made it more accessible to students, and that's really what it's all about.
I'm also part of the Teacher Advisory Cabinet, which is a 2-year commitment, and I look at policy, educational policy in Massachusetts. And again, it's this really exciting opportunity to be a representative of Westfield and to be speaking to the policymakers at the state level. And I feel like Westfield is really supportive of these opportunities to grow our supervisors and teachers through our professional development funds, and to be able to have the opportunity to continue my own growth and learning.
Yes.
Helps me to be able to help the growth and learning for teachers and intern students. So I can't stress enough how important it is to be a lifelong learner when you're in a role like a supervisory role, a teaching role, or one of the director roles.
And Kate, you also have been selected to be on an important state committee.
Yeah, so we haven't started this committee yet, but I was just selected to be on the Grade 8 MCAS committee. So I will be working with the Department of Ed to review upcoming Grade 8 MCAS questions. So I'm really excited to represent Westfield and to learn with other teachers and kind of what goes into creating these questions and making sure that the questions are accessible to the kids and making sure that they're good quality standard-based questions. So I'm really excited to do that. I'm looking forward to it.
And we're excited that both of you are representing Westfield on these committees and having influence to what is happening across the state. Nice job.
Yeah, very nice job. And we want to again thank you for being on the show this week with us.
It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have to have you back on again at some point in time. Does that sound like a plan?
Sounds great.
All right. Mrs. Dargy, any last-minute thoughts about our curriculum team or any of the work that we're doing?
I don't really have any more to add to what has already been said. No.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, thanks for tuning in this week. It was Keeping It True with Chris and Sue. 30 degrees right now, a little cloudy. I think next week, I believe both Zap and I will be back for
There you go.
Superintendent Spotlight with Zap and Chris. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.
Have a good week.
Thank you.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.